Hi everybody, I'm Pastor Michael Tassler from Grace Lutheran Church in Colorado Springs, and along with some others we've just spent a couple of days writing the Bible study for 2018, and we're all very excited about this. We're at Rainbow Trail Camp, and it actually kind of feels like summer here in mid-January. And I also want to say, when I'm speaking to you, we have no idea who you are, and some of you will be seeing this who, as of this day in January, don't even know that you're going to be here. So this is all kind of fun and creative and spirit-filled, and we're excited about it. My Bible study is day 4, Thursday, and the theme is I Become Generosity. And so we're going to explore God's radical generosity that is a result of God's radical grace, which is the way the whole kind of study starts, as you already know. But generosity, I'm going to say in my introduction that you read, flows from the heart of God. It's unstoppable, it's constant, and in many ways it's very countercultural, because we live in a society that really values scarcity, that creates kind of a narrative of fear. Like, if I don't have enough, then I have to compete with you to get what's there. But the gospel teaches us that there's enough, and that we can actually live in radical generosity. And because of that, we can change the world as we reflect and share God's generosity that we've received. We can be generous to others. So that's kind of the overall theme of the day. I've picked 2 core scriptures, and I've divided them by age. So one of them is intended for the junior campers, the younger folks, and it's shorter and it's simpler, and I thought that that would be the best way to engage kids of that age and level in that story. And I'm not going to read them to you, I'm just going to summarize them, but that story is a very brief story about Jesus and his disciples who are across from the temple in Jerusalem, and Jesus notices a poor widow who puts in her last 2 copper coins. That's all she has into the treasury, and compares her to those who are leaving a lot of money, wealthy sums of money. And he says she's given far more than the people who have put in large sums of money. So that story kind of divides generosity off from cash itself. So someone who puts in everything she has put in more. And so I'm going to invite you to have the campers act out that story. It's very short. There's very few words. They can take the parts of the widow, of Jesus, of the disciples, of the others putting money in the treasury. And I think that might be an active, good way for them to engage it. And then you can explore their reactions and feelings and questions as a part of that. The other core text intended for everybody else in the summer is a parable from the Gospel of Matthew of the laborers in the vineyard. Jesus tells this interesting story about a landowner who needs laborers to go work in his vineyard. So he goes to the marketplace early in the morning and hires some folks, and they go start working in his vineyard. But he needs more laborers, so throughout the day at various hours he goes back to the marketplace and hires more laborers. Even up to the last hour before quitting time, he hires some folks. There's a little nuanced detail at the beginning of the parable in which he says for those very first workers, they agree to a wage, the normal daily wage. And they make kind of an agreement, a contract about that. So quitting time comes, and all the laborers line up to receive their pay. And those who have started the latest in the day are the first to receive their wages. So the people who have barely worked at all line up, and lo and behold, they get an entire day's wage for just that hour of work. In the background are those who have started early in the day, worked all day long, and they're thinking, wow, if the people that barely work got a full day's wage, we're going to be in store for more. And when they get up to the pay booth, so to speak, they get the usual daily wage, and they're angry, and they grumble and complain to the landowner. And he says, that's what we agreed upon, isn't it? A usual daily wage. And he says, are you angry because I am generous? And so that's the story. In my experience as a pastor, when we've had this text in worship, it's actually evoked a lot of feelings of anger, because again in our system, if you've only worked an hour, you don't deserve as much as those who've worked the whole day. And yet here in this parable that Jesus says is a parable, this is what the kingdom of heaven is like. We have this radical generosity from God that doesn't seem fair. And so that's a story that I think will also evoke all kinds of feelings in your campers. So I just encourage you to let those questions be and let the feelings be expressed, and just dig into that a little bit. And in the course of the day and the study, you'll have a chance to dig into what radical generosity means, and then how we can actually do that with people that we meet in our lives. So many blessings to you this summer. It's going to be a great study. We feel that the themes of the day cohere and go together, and will provide a great week of digging into God's grace with one another. So thanks.